Mark, what an extraordinary trip. We just finished up on the Amigo, 2 days here in October 2024. I don't have the words to tell you how thrilled the group is, and me on a personal level, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Can't beat the weather. We had, great bluefin fishing, great bottom fishing. Couldn't really ask for any more than that. Overall, great trip.
Yeah, limits of bluefin tuna. I know a lot of guys are going to be tuning in and they're going to want to get some current tackle tips and that kind of thing. Never a ripper. I mean, I don't think we had more than half a dozen going maybe at the same time.
Yeah, it was a pick bite.
But
Had to work for bites.
When did we start that drift? Like 10 a.m.?
Something like that, about 10 a.m. all the way in the dark.
God, it was amazing.
Stuck with us. We got lucky, got on a school that wanted to stick around and bite a little bit.
It was amazing. And the grade of fish was really beautiful fish.
Yeah, great grade of fish.
What would you say that was?
A 30-pound average.
Yeah. And then we had one that, I don't know, I'm guessing 120, 130, something like that.
One big one in the morning there.
Yeah. So. Guys that are going to go out and fish this stuff, it seems like a little bit of a roller coaster right now. Do you get that impression? Like one day they bite and...
It's up and down.
Yeah.
One day, nothing really consistent like it was earlier this year.
I know.
Yeah, it goes through highs and lows.
And we just happen to just nail it, man. That's just so cool. Yeah. So, tackle-wise, sometimes you got to drop the fluorocarbon down, right? Yeah.
25, 30-pound when it's a pick bite, and size 4 circle hooks, small circle hooks. That makes a world of a difference.
And I know we're beating a dead horse, but just in case, man, choose a good hot bait, right? As always.
Always, yeah. Always. Bait,
and,
nice, lively bait.
One thing I noticed was a lot of guys, I mean, everybody's crowded back in the stern. Fish are boiling everywhere. It's exciting. Mark's on the tanks. You know, he's a great entertainer, so I like to be back there too. But I watched John Garman, several other guys come up here to the bow, underhand a bait, and boom, they're on.
Yeah. Fish are boiling pretty much stern, bow. It doesn't really matter when it's like that.
We mentioned that it never was wide open, but the sign that we had, I mean, the visual was really outstanding. There was some fish crashing all over us.
Yeah, it was pretty active.
Yeah. So how long is this? I know I'm asking an impossible question, but could this conceivably, have we seen it in prior years, go to the first of the year?
Yeah, it's not impossible. Seeing how much squid the fish had in them, it's very likely they will stay because they got a food source. More and more squid moving in.
I saw that.
A couple years ago, we were catching them in 53-degree or 56-degree water.
Yeah.
Cold water. And they were just honed in on that squid, and that's the only reason why they're staying. So it's not impossible.
You mentioned the squid. We actually, examined, did little dissection of some of the fish, and they were full of it. It looked like fresh dead squid, like freshly eaten squid.
Yeah, there's some squid moving in. I saw a few under the lights and metered some, so that's kind of a newer development. But,
we also, Mark didn't even know what it was, but you said it was probably a hake, right?
That's what it looked like.
Little bait fish?
Yeah, bottom fish, they catch them deep. So
amazing stuff. That was one heck of a bite. A few fish on the iron, that big one. George hooked that fish on, I don't remember what he hooked it on, Colt Sniper or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, and then Dave was up in the bow. And I was watching the show, and it was just erupting everywhere. Fish were boiling, coming out of the water. He made a cast, and he got bit. Is that something that anglers should bring along with them, just in case?
Yeah. Always have a jig. Sometimes when you're marking the fish down deep, you sink it out, and you'll get bit that way.
Nighttime fishing, how's that been in the recent weeks or so? There's been a few hits. In fact, you guys had one.
A few days ago.
Yeah.
We had, I think, 28 fish at night.
Yeah. And you hooked a lot.
Yeah, we hooked a lot. Is that smaller grade fish? So they were, when you stop on them, they're biting fast and furious. It's same thing, highs and lows.
Yeah.
One night's good, next night not so good. So don't know what to expect this time of year.
You say smaller grade fish, and for an old timer like me, I look at that 30 to 40 pound bluefin and I hearken back to my youth when we were stoked to get a 12, 15 pound bluefin. And now we're calling 30, 40 pounders small fish. And it's pretty remarkable what we have found ourselves in the midst of this past decade on this bluefin tuna fishery, right?
Pretty darn consistent.
You ever hear your dad say anything like that? I mean, like, man, we're blessed to have these bluefin. I know they're a pain in the ass in terms of on your crew fishing all night long.
Yeah.
It can really suck, but they really have been a blessing.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
And you also made the comment to me a couple days ago that you saw as much fish a couple days ago out there than you've seen all year long. It looks like that kind of ebbs and flows,
Mhm.
but there's still a lot around, as you mentioned.
There was. I saw some really, really big schools, and yeah, they just, they got tails. They move around.
Yeah. Comment on your crew. They were extraordinary. Starting with you, you're down there on deck. You're not one of those guys that locks yourself in the wheelhouse. You're down there working the deck, doing a great job. Mark Sonata, like I say, my dilemma in editing this video is whether I cut his jokes out or not. And I really don't want to because I think I could just roll that, man, and people are going to love it. So he's not only up on the tank chumming, keeping the fish with us, but he's entertaining. And then you have Juan. He did a great job. George in the galley, absolutely. We are all stuffed. And he looked at me, and, I've been on for quite some time. And he goes, "You're still carnivore, right?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "I gotcha." And so I never had to worry about my dietary needs, and I don't want to be a pain in the ass, but he took good care. Well done, Mark.
Thank
really,
you.
really well
Appreciate
done.
that.
Fantastic. I loved it. The food was extraordinary. All right, so we had an extraordinary bluefin tuna day, and then we go to Nicholas. We start out catching some big pez blancas, some whitefish. Then we move to the sheephead area, and we catch some really big sheephead. But I was itching because you were telling me, man, we go out in the deep water and maybe make a catch out there, and oh my God, the freaking reds, the big boccaccio, just remarkable final day here where we have so much fish on the boat, so much fresh fish that people are blessed to go home with. It was remarkable at San Clemente Island also.
Yeah, very good fishing.
Would you recommend that? I mean, do people bring the kitchen sink when they tackle up to come out here? Is that something they want
Usually,
to
I
do?
see that quite often. Guys bringing,
Some lighter stuff and
a lot of tackle.
yeah.
Looks like they're getting on a long range trip.
Yeah, yeah. And we've also, you and I have been talking maybe about doing something in December, a cod trip or
Mhm.
something. That should be prime time, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. Rock fishing. They could bite. Well, they bite year round, but we're only allowed to fish them up until the end of December.
Yeah,
But yeah, great time for doing that.
yeah.
Weather should be nice that time of year.
Tell us just a little bit about the boat, like her capabilities, the length, what kind of gear you have here to find fish.
The longest trip we do is 2.5. We do a lot of day and a halves and overnights and 2 days mostly. We don't do too many 2.5 days. But 60-foot boat, we hold around 800 gallons of fuel. Our bait tank, we probably hold 120 swings of bait. So it's kind of perfect for like day and a half and 2-day trips.
Do you do any open party stuff, or is it mostly charter?
It's mostly charters. Towards the beginning, when it was me and Jeff, we did more open party as the business was being built.
Yeah.
But now we're mostly chartered.
Yeah, because word of mouth, man, you're full all the time. I get that.
Yeah.
Really great stuff. And if somebody out there wants to book a trip, do they call 22nd Street or do they call? And I can put the number if you don't have it.
I have a charter number.
You'll give that to me,
Yeah,
or do you know
I'll
it?
give that to you. I
Okay.
don't know it offhand.
Okay, and we'll put it down there in text, so you'll all
Yeah.
be able to see that, and I'll voice it in to the deal. And one more thing, man. What the hell? You've had wind all season long, and we come out. And last year, I couldn't every trip I ran. What gorgeous weather we had on this trip.
Beautiful. Doesn't get much better than this.
Yeah.
So can't ask for much more. This is about as good as weather as you can have.
Just on a human final note here, God almighty, you guys freaking work so hard. I was in the business, so I understand. But now you add that layer of nighttime fishing, and it really gets rough. But, 3 o'clock in the morning, I get up to, of course, do what Mother Nature wanted me to do. And out on the fillet board, guys are out there filleting tuna that we had caught. So while we're all wiped out from just fishing, you guys have been working your asses off all day long. And guys are out there. How do you guys do it, man? Lots of coffee? What's the deal?
Just
love, a labor of love.
Yeah, you gotta love what you're doing. This isn't something you do if you don't enjoy it.
That's for sure. Mark, great
All right,
trip.
Bill.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
We enjoyed it so much.